I just completed one of the most intense and transformative experiences of my life. A 10-day Vipassana silent meditation retreat in the Western Cape, South Africa. 10 hours of meditation every single day. No talking, no phone, no books, no music, no eye contact, just me, myself, and I. It was the hardest thing I have ever done, and yet the most profound. Hi, I'm Tessa Pule. I'm a mom of two, a wife, and a life design coach based in Johannesburg, South Africa. I will never share the details of what the transformation I went through with Vipassana, because there are things that are meant to be sacred. And I, for the first time in my life, experienced that, right? It is one thing to say a documentary or watch an explainer, tell all type show, but there is something fundamentally important about noble silence for the things that you experience as an individual. And I do want everybody to have that amazing moment. Maybe when I write my memoirs and I'm 97 or something, I'll do a whole deep dive about it. But the sacredness of it, the noble silence for myself, only the people who know or I know need to know that story is a testimony that I'll share. I wouldn't stand in a pulpit and this is my testimony. I can't do that in this video because what is sacred is sacred. And your journey to your journey to know yourself, your journey to God, your journey to oneness is such a path. And I do hope you sincerely honor it. Where was I in my life when I landed on Vipassana? It's been a long, hard 5 years since COVID. I've lost more people than I ever care to mention. Work wasn't going great. Debt up to my eyeballs. And pretty much needing extra 4, 5, 6 hours in a day. I just felt like I just really couldn't catch up. I couldn't cope. It was too much effort. And after some time, you realize that the problem actually isn't the world. The problem is me. I am not engaging. I'm not present. I was going through out of sight, out of mind. Like when I was with you, I was very present. I could answer. I could do stuff, commit to things. And as soon as you were gone, I'd forgot that I was just speaking to you. So I was walking around with my phone and record and my notebook, taking notes 24/7. So I could actually not capitulate my life. Look at it. Oh, and he just said, I had a meeting with this person. This is what I said I would do. This is what I'm delivering on. Get it done. But if I didn't make any big note of what we did, I would not remember to come back to it until it was time to deliver. Then I'd buy more time. Obviously, this is not very constructive. My husband is like, babe, something's going on. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. It's like, you need to go to the doctor. It's like, okay. So off to the doctor I went. I tell him all my things. He just was like, he actually diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress disorder. I was like, what? I haven't been to war. I'm not a soldier. He's like, actually, the trauma that one goes through with multiple back-to-back deaths, it's not what people grief is different for everyone. And because you are who you are, yours is just stress. He gives me 2 injections, both cheeks, and takes blood tests just to make sure that my vitals and my organs are all fine. I remember coming home that day. I have never felt so good. I couldn't remember the last time I felt so good. I was in my 20s, early 30s, life was my oyster, but I'd forgotten all of that. And it helped me remember the person I know I was, or I at least used to be. And I was like, I do need help. I do need to fix this. I have a conversation with my friend and she was like, no, maybe let's do Vipassana. I'm like, what's Vipassana? And she's like, it's a meditation. All I heard was meditation retreat. I was like, okay, but why must I go all the way to Cape Town to go meditate? There's mountains everywhere. And she's like, no, it's this specific type of meditation that Kendrick Lamar did. And when he came back, he had that album that pretty much destroyed Drake. I was like, I could do something like that, like a complete reboot. Okay, let's do this. And that's how I applied for Vipassana. I didn't know it was a silent retreat. I'm just very much aware that with meditation, there is silence. Like, because I'm a yogi, I do all that stuff. So being quiet and minding your space around other people is normal. I didn't know noble silence. I just knew silence. So I applied for Vipassana. I got my return ticket to Cape Town. 2 hours I fly in. It's piss pouring rain in Cape Town. But Worcester is an hour and a half away from Cape Town. And the center is 25 minutes away from Worcester. So we had to arrange transport from Cape Town to the center. And some people who came by bus, there were like 2 or 3 gents who did that. And they had to be picked up from Worcester to the meditation center. We meet up at one of those mini shopping center type things in the middle of the city. The van comes through. There's about 6 or 7 of us. We get on the road, and it is a very beautiful, slow, quiet drive. We go up the mountain. We take our bags, put them in the veranda because it's still like drizzling. And watch the Uber guy go away. And then I'm like, oh no, this is it. This is really, really it. And then one of the assistants comes through and says, okay, once we're ready, we can come in to the office and hand in all of our valuables. And I was like, oh, okay, it's time to call people, say goodbye, I'll talk to you for the next 10 days. I made a few voice notes. My niece, it was her birthday, sang happy birthday, made a whole lot of things. And then I video called my husband. And he looks more nervous than I am. Like, he's proper sweating. He's like, okay, babe, are you going to be okay? Are you sure? It's going to be 10 days. I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. Okay. So I hang up, switch my phone off, go to the office, I hand it in. And they're like, is there anything else? I'm like what? Like any snacks? I'm like, oh, you need my snacks? They're like, yes. I was like, wow. So laptop, phone, all the snacks I had, gets put in a cute little bag, locked up. And we were put back to what they call the Dharma hall. Like the men and the women are split. And then there's the Dharma hall. And that was my arrival at Vipassana. From the Dharma hall, you're allocated a room. It's a very humble type cottage. It's very simple, but it's actually very sound and warm. At this point, we're still like getting to know each other a little bit because we're still allowed to speak. And we were told that we could go have lunch because it was still being served at I suppose it's a canteen of some kind. So we go down there and we're eating. I met a few of my fellow meditators and we're just discussing what brought us there, what we do, where we're from. The one lady's from Kuwait. The other one was actually from Joburg and Fourways. Another one was from Durban. And we ate a very nice meal, washed our dishes. And then we had the official introduction. Guy comes out with a rule book, a stick, and we're all meeting together. I cannot tell you 80% of what he said. I just remember what he stuck in my head was obviously like men and women don't interact. The men have their own side, women have their own side. I was like, okay, that's different. No problem. But what really stuck was when he mentioned noble silence. So obviously, I mean, I know you're going to be silent. It's Vipassana. It's a meditation retreat. That's what I signed up for. But I was not ready for all day, everyday meditation with no sound or communication to people. I was like, hold on. Say what? The concept of noble silence is actually so phenomenal. But when you hear it for the first time, all I was thinking is like, this is so anti-black. You know, there's no way I can pass somebody and not acknowledge that they've just walked past me, like, you know, a head nod or like a wink or like a smile, nothing. If you see someone coming down the path, you look down and you do not engage. This is noble silence, you know? Completely out of my comfort zone. Once the gong goes on day 1, that's when noble silence starts, and it ends day 10. We had about 15 minutes to wrap our head around this concept, or at least I know I did. So I'm standing outside, looking at some gorgeous view of farmlands all around the bottom of Worcester, and I'm like, choices. You know, I was thinking about my life choices in that moment. Can I keep quiet for that long? If I complain, who am I complaining to? Like, it really was just like choices. I have signed myself up to be caged in my head. And am I okay with that? And of course, Miss Fiafako was like, okay, let's give it a shot. You know, I'm here now. And went up to my room, said one last prayer, gong went, and noble silence began. All meditation, well, the bulk of it is done in the Dharma hall. We report for allocation. You are given your mat and your spot. Once you're there, your instruction pretty much begins. But you have to repeat this vow that you make to yourself and to your fellow meditators and to your teacher, which is that you will abstain from killing. It is a very well-known and popular fact that killing brings, or consuming anything that has been killed, brings up negative energy. So no killing, which means if you're sitting there and you see a fly, let it fly by. Then the other one is that you will abstain from sexual immorality. Now, what does immorality mean? How I understood and how I applied was that all sexual engagement just stopped. There's no partner, there's no husband, there's no self-pleasure. If you got feeling a little frisky, you got to breathe it away. It just stopped for 10 days. Then obviously you don't go around stealing people's stuff. It doesn't work. So obviously you don't speak falsely. Now, you've taken a vow of silence. But I also then took that one to interpret that I would not speak falsely to myself. Whatever questions would arise, whatever memories would come, I would suppress it. I wouldn't pretend it wasn't what it was. I would face it in its truest form from memory. And the last one is you will take no intoxicants. It's like, duh, like you've handed in all your stash on day. Like you just handed everything you ever thought you would take. But I was quite curious to understand why that would be a thing. But there's no intoxicants for you to take. But then you remember, like you're here with people you don't know. You hear people on different healing and recovery journeys. And some of them might be addicts, either to any of the vices in the world. And mine personal vice is sugar. So I was like, I'm not going to take any sweets either, because that's my thing. Everybody else has a thing. And that was the 5 promises you have to make, the vows you have to make before you even begin. And that's what you have to commit to. Then you're introduced to a breathing technique called Anapana. You have to triangulate your focus to this area of your mouth. And then once you've got that nailed, you have to then focus on just the space between your upper lip and your nostril over here. And you do that for a very, very long time. And the idea is to train the mind to be still to all other like distractions, and you just focus in. Once you've figured that out, then you start to actually feel sensations throughout your body. And that is the jewel of the practice. Once you have gotten to that part, then you are taught the method of Vipassana, which is a very specific type of deep breathing. And I also think that you should do Vipassana to learn that method. I won't say it on there because that is the gold, that is the jewel. And it's also the beauty of noble silence, because how that process worked for me is not identical to how it worked for the person next to me, in front of me, or it will work for you. But it is really coming into your own, and that's the core of it. So happy sitting. After the first day of meditating, I went back to my room and I actually thought about why I was really there. Primarily, it's just I needed to run away from my life for a while. It was going to afford me the peace I needed. It's quiet. I don't have to engage anybody. So I remember my prayer that night that I apply myself 100% to the process, to the learning. For whatever reason, God, my ancestors, everybody, my angels found a way to make me be there at that time. I am grateful for it. So I'm going to do everything I'm supposed to do for the process and honor it. What I did come out of it was my system, my entire system actually recalibrated in a beautiful way. And I now know that I glow gold. But don't use that as a litmus test of any kind, because everybody's journey is different and unique. And what Vipassana will be for you is not what it was for me, but it will bring you an enormous amount of transformation if you follow the process. Vipassana memories. It gets so crazy, like you put your shoes in the exactly same cubicle every time you go through, to a point that if you come in and somebody has put their shoes there, you have this thing like, why you took my spot type thing, and it's stupid because you're not talking to anybody, they're not your people. But like over time you start to realize that certain people gravitate towards certain parts to put their things in, and that was like a weird thing. And there will be tears, there'll be lots of tears, your own, others, everybody. There's a lady who was like about 4 or 5 rows in front of me. I just remember like the way she cried, because obviously nobody's going into hysterics, we're all deep in meditation, but the way her cry was so in her, like the bottom of her being, it was really like the darkest and deepest trenches of her being. I remember sitting the one time and I was like, however this meditation thing goes, but I send all my energy to her. Like I send all my energies to her, and may she sit through the process and not leave. Because every now and again, like day 3, day 4, you look up and there's like an empty space. Silence is hard. Your own silence is harder. But to have silence, your own silence, and your own mirror and your own emotions sit with you is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I can only imagine what other people were carrying. So some people did actually just not come back. And I was just thinking, this one girl, like, just stay, whatever it is happening in your life, stay the process through. And it turns out, somewhere, somehow, she said like long after, like when we were all finished with meditation, we could talk again. She came and found me and she's like, you were the girl with the hair, because like this was thicker and much longer. And she would look for me because I was always still, and she would almost like, if I'm sitting and I'm going and I'm strong, it gave her courage and strength to sit. And I had no idea, but it was so amazing that just me trying and putting my best effort forward helped so many people, because she wasn't the only one. People noticed that I wouldn't like necessarily get up for a break or whatever. I'd just sit still and bend my back because it was killing me. Like I just bent my back, and then it was time to, I would continue, you know? And there's this lady who was next to me. I love her. She had this huge bomber jacket, and she'd rap and she'd come and she'd be like, kwasha, 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 kwasha. And I'm thinking, oh, this kwasha, kwasha ring. It's like, it's kwasha, kwasha ring. And then I was like, why am I so focused on her kwasha, kwasha ring instead of on myself? Like, what I'm here to do is irrespective of what she's doing and how she's moving around. And I'd be like, okay, I know it'll take like 5-6 minutes for her to stop kwasha kwashering and just like settle. And then I just started laughing about it. And then I realized that I couldn't actually do my meditation until she was sitting and she was kwasha kwashering. It was like almost like a cue, like, okay, now breathe deeply and begin again. And then, yeah, one of the cool things though, and I actually understand, is that when you come, the rule says like when you pack your toiletries, try and have something that doesn't have a very strong smell. Like no smells is ideal, which is crazy because you have all these lotions and potions, and I love my aromatherapy, everything. But in that space, it's so important because what I might think is a beautiful lavender or musk or whatever lemongrass scent that brings me all warm and happy memories could be seriously triggering for the next person. So it was for the first time in my life where you're with a group of people and everybody walks up and down, but they don't have a unique scent or a signature. And like on the last day, it was crazy because then everybody did the makeup and then they had the perfume, like everybody was spraying for days and like they shampooed differently. And like, you know, everybody had a smell and it was like just so overpowering because for 10 days, you were literally just breathing fresh air. And the other thing I didn't anticipate was the food is good. It is good. It's vegetarian, it's like curried, and it was warm and satisfying. But I promise you, there was a time where I could not eat another slice of toast. I actually just stopped eating bread altogether by like day 9. I just couldn't do it. And it is that thing in my head again, like when somebody limits my choices for what I need to do, it's like, I'm going to go home. I had all these meals planned in my head. I'm going to eat all the meat. I'm going to eat steak and fish and chips and all this stuff. And I didn't do any of that. But I was very tired of toast. I think the first time I ate bread since Vipassana was about like a month or 2 after I got home. I actually like, hey, I do like bread and can do this again. But it was actually such nice bread. I think I just ate too much of it in the beginning. And then eventually I was just sick of it. The last day. So a lot of things happen, but the last day comes around and the teacher tells us that we will be allowed to collect our stuff. From experience, they've noticed that once the meditators reintegrate into society is very loud and it's overwhelming, like a lot. So they would then give us back our phones, and then we're allowed to end noble silence and then talk to each other. Once that happened, like I didn't believe it, and then the gong went and then noble silence was finished. Like the girls walked together and I think we all just started like giggling, like really giggling, and then hugging each other and then crying, and the last thing we did was talk. You know, we made like a semicircle, and then you're like, okay, we're all here. And then you start to hear that somebody was nicknamed Tree Girl because during breaks, you just go climb a tree and chill out. And we all had known and were aware of each other and had nicknamed ourselves. Like we'd found a way, man. You know, like, and when this one's not here anymore, and then this one's not here anymore, like, where's this? We were all noticing that we were together, but we couldn't talk. So it was a whole bunch of hugging, loving, giggling, tears. After a bit of talking and we do our last meditation, I started to realize that my throat here was sore, like the muscles were going. It was interesting because I'm a blabbermouth sometimes. Like, I cannot stop talking, but it was actually painful to talk for that 35 minutes that we actually had. And we did our final meditation and we closed off Vipassana. The next day was Sunday. And there was a time I'm like, everybody has a lot to say. I took pictures with my mates, people we were smiling around with, organized new lifts because we didn't call our Uber again, organized new lifts back to Cape Town, to the airport. And I couldn't get over the noise. And we all know that airports are noisy, but wow, guys, like hectic. Everything has a sound. There is no corner for silence, for peace. It was a lot, man. So I don't know how you're supposed to reintegrate into society. So when I landed in Joburg, my husband was there, greeted me. I was so happy to see him. I've never missed him so much in my life. I was so happy to see him. We got home. I think I spoke to him for 2 hours. The poor child, he sleeps at 8:30, and here I am telling him everything by 2:30 in the morning. And then I meditated immediately after that conversation. I went to sleep. I woke up the next day. I did my meditation. And then it hit me that I was back home. My get up at 4, be on the mat at 4:30, be in bed at 8:30 was not the norm. You know, your 10 hours of meditation are like reduced to morning and evening, and you have to figure out where. People have their own schedules. I share a home with my husband and my children. Everybody is allowed their own space and their own time, and I can't really come in and crash with my newfound discipline of things. It doesn't really work. My phone won't stop at all, like pinging and tinging and people calling. I just remembered, like, I was such a busy human being. I can only imagine why I needed the world to stop for 10 days. Like, I didn't even want to drive for like 2-3 days. And when I did, I was like, switch off the radio, switch off everything, like no noises. And it was a slow process. I still think I'm still trying to get used to it. I have a better of a rhythm on it now, but I don't think I'll ever be fully back there on the noise level and people, because part of Vipassana is to be able to be in the moment with people, but you're still doing Vipassana. Like, you're present, but you're watching. And the separation of things is actually so peaceful for me. Sometimes you lose it. It happens. I haven't quite perfected it yet. But the morning meditation and evening meditation just really helps to bring that back together. And I've cleared up a lot of my schedules. I've gained what I wanted to run away from. Like, I've found ways to remove all the energies that was doing more taking than giving from me, because I was literally depleted from the inside. And whatever it is and however it is that I've filled myself back up to, nobody is allowed to get any without my permission. And of course, that has caused fights. It has caused disagreements. You have to walk away from conversations and people and relationships and clients. I'm a consultant, like, in clients that you never thought we were that way, but actually that's what it really was. And I have more peace now than I actually ever had. My back pain, for the most part, is a thing of the past. I just now know what triggers it in certain situations. Been to a concert and I survived and it was fun and I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next one. I was very, very nervous about that. I won't lie. Like my first concert after it, because the people and the noise and the heat and there's a lot, but it was very, very nice. I survived that. And my kids have been like reconnecting with them differently. Like I see how I'm parenting differently than I did before. I hope I'm a better wife than I was before. I don't know what my husband will say to that, but I am a better me. Like I like myself a lot more. I'm so much more happier with who I am. Now I'm so accepting of the parts of me that you didn't want to share with the world, or you wanted to hide, or it wasn't perfect enough. Like, it was just, that's me, and like nobody gets to see that. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, bring it on, And that's liberating. And just saying that. It is a consistent mantra in Vipassana, like be liberated. Be happy. And happy isn't what we think the Hollywood version of happiness has been sold us. It's a different thing and it's real. Like be happy and be liberated. Like be liberated. That is everything. And if you ever thought that you're caged or you can't breathe or you can't move or you're restricted, do Vipassana. You'll understand how to liberate yourself and be liberated in a world where your rights are consistently threatened or you're fighting for. You find your liberation, and it is everything.